wants to increase the gross enrollment rate to 50% in India. That means 50% of students who are coming out of the high school system, higher secondary school, sorry, not high school, higher secondary school system should enter university. Okay, either in the vocational stream or in the mainstream, what we have. They should go into either of these streams. That is what government wants. Right now, the percentage is about 25 to 30. They want to increase it to 50%. They understand that India does not have the infrastructure, physical infrastructure, to host all 50% of every high school student, sorry, higher secondary school student who is coming out of the schooling system. So they are looking for a hybrid system. Some of the students will go to brick and mortar institutions like ours, arts and science and various other disciplines. They want a significant chunk of the students to be trained in either skills or to be trained in traditional streams online. So they want to increase the percentage of students getting their first degree online. Okay, completely distance mode. That's what government wants to increase. We have to understand what government wants so that we can adapt to what government wants. There is a very famous saying, statement in a movie called Great Debaters. The Great Debaters movie is based on real life happening in the United States, where a group of black students from a black college, they go on to have a debate competition with the Harvard University. You should watch the movie. It's a very inspirational movie, in which there is one pastor there, and he says to his son that you got to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. That means there is something that you have to do. You can't escape. If you do what you have to do, then you get the freedom to do whatever you want to do. Okay, you study in school, that is you have to do. You do that, then you get a lot of free time to do whatever you want to do, play or whatever. Okay, very beautiful sentence he says to his son, and the son is reflecting that very nicely. So similarly, we also have to do what we have to do. That means in terms of NAC, in terms of NMC, in terms of government regulations, we have to do all those things that we have to do, so that we can do whatever we want to do. Apart from that, you can have your own goals, institution goals, visions, vision. Nobody will be able to interfere in that. And if we don't fulfill the first part, then other part will become difficult. Okay? So they also want us institutions to choose whether we want to go in depth into certain disciplines or we want to broaden us. In future, what they will try to do in the next years to come. Now, Believers Church Medical College and Hospital will have an opportunity to expand, bring in allied health sciences courses with the Kerala University of Health Sciences itself, but run hospitals together and create what is known as clusters. That means you will have another college, maybe nursing college or dental college or allied health sciences college. You already have nursing college, isn't it? But it is now independently accredited with the university. Correct? Now, government wants us to form clusters. So you will have a closer relationship. Right now, ownership relationship you have with them. They are your sister organizations. Okay. Other than that, department to department relationships you might not have, except in the hospital. What government wants is they want us to go in depth and they want us to form clusters. We can form what is known as a healthcare cluster. Already nursing college, maybe allied health sciences, maybe something more, physiotherapy, pharmacy, things like that. And then create a cluster known for clinical care as well as excellence in research or education. You understand what I am saying? This is coming. So we have to work our way to be ready for that kind of in-depth or breadth. We don't have to go for breadth. That means we add allied health sciences or management or commerce. That is breadth. Depth means we choose our discipline, which is health sciences, and we go deep in that. Got it? And then they are bringing in what is known as a one nation, one platform kind of thing. So earlier days for NAC accreditation, the exercise involved getting a lot of data from all stakeholders, from departments, from teachers. Have you attended an event? Have you presented papers? Please give me a certification. Collecting all this data used to be very hard. It's a mammoth job. And those who are doing this are superhumans because they will have to liaison with every department, talk to everybody, collect it. Maybe the faculty would have left. And we have to have 5 years data for the accreditation. Accreditation is based on the previous 5 years data. So getting all of these together, sometimes they may ask for paper records, sometimes digital records might be acceptable. There are a lot of issues here. This is still evolving and emerging, so we don't know exactly what the next set of parameters are going to be, but we can have a very good guess. I'm going to give you that guess right now, so that our medical education not only meets our own good standards, but also the standards that we are looking for, okay, from the point of view of NAC and others. So when that one nation, one platform comes, we will have to upload the data only once. Automatically it will flow into different places. For example, now we have what is known as iShape, All India Survey of Higher Education. You may not all know about it. Some might know who is filling. So our institution, data is fed into iShape. That means, initial data about the campus, square meters, buildings, facilities available, and afterwards how many teachers, students, male, female, from inside state of Kerala, outside state of Kerala, how many have joined, how many are from abroad, international students of Indian origin, Indian nationals, NRIs who are staying, maybe from Middle East, foreign citizens. All this data is fed into it. Also about scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, these kind of social economic parameters are also fed into it. Okay, but that is in isolation. They want to expand that kind of one data, one nation, one platform, where we put in the data in one place, it will automatically go to NIRF. It will also be taken up by NAC. It will also go into different statutory bodies, even to UGC. So we will have to prepare our data so that we are ready to feed into that. Now, government also wants us to do a lot of things. I told you about increasing the gross enrollment rate, and they want us to expand the undergraduate to heretofore underserved or unserved population. So we'll have to identify them. Earlier it was about reservations. Right now, private institutions which don't have reservations also will have to identify certain populations that we have to serve. And then the emphasis on e-learning and online education is going up. They are placing more and more emphasis. They want us to come up and create more content for e-learning and online education. We might have to first use what is there on Swayam platform, and ultimately we are being given marks, extra marks for contributing to Swayam. Okay, as well as having an institutional LMS. Those are parameters that are there already in NAC, and the new NAC parameters are going to give even more marks for these aspects. So we have to train ourselves as teachers to be capable of delivering our course material in these formats as e-learning modules, for example. And then we have to very closely look, all of you, wherever you are, in whichever faculty position you are, junior faculty, mid-level, senior level, where you have to look at what is known as skills framework. Please search for it for healthcare sector. So they have very nicely put up curriculums for skill-based education. We will be delivering it shortly. We will be doing short courses. Dr. Jacob was talking to me about one small course that he is conducting to convert it into a course with a certificate. So that also comes under skills framework. So we have to create what is known as a skills framework, competency-based kind of thing. Okay, we don't already we have competency-based undergraduate education. Similar to that, vocational kind of education in healthcare. I'll give you an example. Phlebotomist. Now we have to have licensed trained phlebotomist. Earlier the nurses used to do the drawing of blood for diagnostic purposes. Now we have a position known as phlebotomist. So they get trained in phlebotomy, anatomy, for example, drawing blood, consensus, all kind of stuff. Okay, we teach them. Those are based on skills, not much on knowledge. The knowledge part of that training will be small, but the practical part will be high. There is also new courses coming which are known as Bachelor in Vocation Studies. It's called BVOC. You might have heard about it. So, for example, in some institutions where they have allied health sciences, they have started courses like Bachelor of Science in Anesthesia Technology to create anesthesia technologists, OT technicians, for example, dialysis technicians. A lot of institutions have started this because this also feeds people for employment in our hospitals. Okay, so they come train with us and they also join our workforce or they go elsewhere. There are a lot of positions like that. In many parts of the hospital we have ECG technicians, for example, cath lab. We are getting a new cath lab in this institution, so we can have technicians who will be minding that cath lab, that kind of thing. Now, these used to be earlier Bachelor of Science courses. Now we can convert them to BVOC, Bachelor of Vocational Sciences or vocation, because we can reduce the theory part to the minimum and focus much more on the skills part, handling part, that part, and becomes a vocational course. Okay, so we have to look at this because we will be starting. We can't stay as just medical college alone. The point is, at some point of time, we have to diversify, and the same departments that are there, that they are there in this hospital, will have to also do these kind of courses. So it will come upon us. So why? Because the government wants institutions not to rely too much on a single source of income or a predominant source of income, which is student fees. They want us to diversify. Okay, that's the idea. Now, They want us to diversify into these areas, so we'll all have to gain expertise in this. I will tell you what, we were trained, we have a master's degree specialization, it's not an MD, MS we have, but we have only three, let's say 2.5 or let's say 3 specializations. One, we are academic teachers, we teach, right? Second, some of us are clinicians, we go to the clinics, we have OPDs, we do all kind of stuff in the clinic, that is patient care. Some of us don't go directly to clinical care, but we have some kind of paraclinical kind of work. Third is we do research. We are expected to do these 3. Now, in addition, we are called upon to do even more roles. One is to become a scientist kind of thing, or a research and development specialist, R&D kind of specialist. That means we have to come up with patents. We have to discover new ways of doing the things that we already do. If you are a clinician, you have to find new ways of designing your tools for ergonomics, for handling that kind of stuff. If you are a clinician, you will have to find new ways for positioning the patient. You have to find something new. You will have to develop that. The research part earlier was much more scientific in core nature. Patents are not that. Patents are usable things. You will have to use them. You have to put them in use. Something that comes out of it will be commercialized. So they want us to come up with intellectual property rights kind of things. That means patents. And not just stop at that, they want us to convert those patents into products which can be transferred to industries and they can produce it, market it, and the author of the patent as well as the institution will get some royalty from it as an additional source of income. Okay, so we have to learn about it. These are new things that we have to adopt. If we don't adapt, then we perish. Next, they want us to share whatever expertise we have already built with others. They want us to share the expertise with the industry. So they want to give academia industry collaboration. Okay. We are in the healthcare field, but imagine in engineering, some colleges, some people would have done some studies on certain things, batteries, energy, stuff like that. They want to commercialize it and they want quickly these ideas which are originating in the academia, the research and the cutting edge stuff that is coming out, to be quickly commercialized and brought into the market. So they want that kind of consideration there. For us, they want clinical trials. They want all hospitals, all medical colleges to open clinical trial centers, not just in namesake, but really handle a number of clinical trials so that we become a hub for clinical trials, for new medicines, also for BA/BE studies, that kind of. So we have to do this consultancy, save some money. They also want us to train adult learners through what is known as Executive Development Program. Okay, these are all parts of the NAC as well as NIRF parameters. If we do this, we get marks, we get ranking, we get higher reputation, we get autonomy, then we get freedom to do whatever we want. That's why we are eligible. And then they also want us to get all kind of grants, not depend on grants only on the government, because it's very hard for private institutions to get government grants. Grants from other granting NGOs. And then we have to build up a philanthropy kind of body so that people can donate to us and we can use it for various aspects, for camps or for specific patients or for specific purposes. They want us to create philanthropy as well as ways for people to give us. So I think I got the wrong this thing here. Now, I think I first slide I put it wrong. I'm sorry. So a few more slides. So in medical education, they want us to concentrate on certain areas. Okay, this is what they want, which is coming in the forthcoming ones. Whatever the government wants to push, they push it through ranks, they push it through parameters. If they want us to create more patents, what they do? They have this NIRF and NAC and other things, there will be more marks. What will you do? To get those marks, you will be doing those things. Okay? I talked about this diversity point. Similarly, in medical education, there is a fundamental shift that is happening. Even NMC, which was brought in to bring in a lot of changes in curriculum, has already done one work by giving you the competency-based medical education. All of you are well aware of it. All of you are using it, correct or not? You are using it, right? Now, if I open up the competency, which I am going to do now, you see that you have a long list of competencies. Any subject might have 100, 50, 60 competencies, right? Most of the competencies will have, for example, it will have a small group teaching. You have, right, the same. Let me open. Now, if you practically think about this, if you have to conduct, let's say, volume 3, that will count for all. Okay. Describe and discuss definition of radiation, mechanism and action of radiation, types of radiation, knowledge base. Students should show know-how. The teaching material is lecture, and assessment is there is horizontal and vertical integration. Let me take something else. Okay. Here are a bunch of ones. I think this is ENT. Meniere's disease, tinnitus, natural obstruction, all of these things, they have lectures, small group discussion and demonstration. They have all the three. Okay. And then what kind of assessment they have? Written VOC and skill assessment. If you have to do it for each of these competencies, it will take a lot of time. It is not physically possible. For small group discussion, you have to have a very large hall. You have only 100 students. In our university, we have 250 students. Anyway, even for 100, you have to divide them into groups of 5, isn't it? That means you have to have 20 round tables so that they can discuss. And you have to give them problem-based learning kind of scenario, a clinical scenario. And then each of this group discusses different aspects of that one class, one case, and then they come for plenary and discussion. This is an ideal situation. Correct or not? Agree with me? But to create such a case which can have 20 aspects that these groups can go into is very, very hard. Okay, you can have one case in which somebody takes diagnosis, somebody takes differential diagnosis, somebody does radiology, somebody plan of treatment, things like that. But you can't have 20, it's very hard. So you have to group it up. The case may not be very interesting also, and you need to have that kind of space. When you are doing the space, others cannot do. When you count all the small group discussions, there will be too many that will exceed the number of days and the space that we have. Got it? And then in the morning session, if you some of you were there, I was talking that teachers have limited resources, limited energy, limited time, limited kind of ability to execute a lot of things. All these competencies we cannot test them. What we do, we select a few of them and we teach it, and we try to do random sampling with questions to see whether they are understanding or not. Get it or not? On the other hand, competency-based medical education means you have to certify the attainment of all these competencies for every student. So a teacher's job has not changed. Earlier method was a teacher will come, stand in a lecture like this, shout out for half an hour or 1 hour and go away. Final examination, they pass or no, don't pass, teacher doesn't have to worry about it. They will say that these students are not studying, that's all. But now it is changing. Now what is happening is teachers will have to take ownership of the students' learning. And they cannot say that I have taught, it's up to them to study, or this batch is bad, earlier batch was good. All those excuses won't fly now because we are called upon to we have to teach, and at the end of the teaching, at the end of the class, students must be able to elicit, document and present the current history and demonstrate and describe the clinical features, choose the current investigation, describe the principle of management of squamous cell type of natural obstruction. Students have to do that. Now it has become what? It is a competency that the students have to demonstrate, and you will have to assess it using what Voivo was saying, skill assessment, all those things, and then certify the student as obtained this. You understand? If you have to do it in the conventional mode, you cannot do it. You are not superhumans. There is no way you can do it, even if you are given 5 times the amount of teachers that you have. And in private institutions, always the faculty numbers will be limited. This is a fact of life. You have to accept it. This is the truth everywhere, all around. So you cannot be called to test whether all the students have attained or not. First of all, teaching everything is itself a huge problem. It will take a lot of time, a lot of effort. Testing them again through those methods that I have listed is impossible. Now, is there a solution? Yes, there is a solution. The solution is we will have to automate most of these things. About 80 to 90% you are automate, so that you are left with only 10%. Does 10% sound okay to you? Yeah, only 10% of this will be able to do. You have to pick what you want to do. Okay, where is your real ability, where is your real expertise? You will have to work on that. You should not be doing repetitive works or clerical works, because it's a useless use of your resource, that is your brain power. Okay. So as an institution, if I am the institution, you are faculty, I should not be uselessly using your brain power, your capability, which is very, very high. You have been trained, you are specialists, you have particular standing in the society, you are doctors, you are specialists. I should not be using you to create paperwork, writing something, putting Excel, not that. That is not the best use of your efficiency as well as our time. Okay, so we have to automate what we can, and then allow you to focus on the core of what you need to do, which is teaching. For that purpose, you have to use what is known as a learning management system. What should we use?
Learning management.
Now, if there becomes a question, what is a learning management system? Means it will allow you to manage most aspects of your teaching, learning, assessment process. Aspects which don't require your direct input or direct work. Okay, that is the world that we are right now, and that is where you will have to concentrate. You will have to learn. It is not an easy thing. It is not something that we switch on and it will do all the work and we can sit at home. It's not a robot like that. We will have to first feed it. In the beginning, we will have to put it in such a way that then it becomes repetitive, it becomes automated. Then we put it into a systematic way so that it replicates itself and works. Get it? So, for example, if we have 100 students, if I have a learning management system, I put the materials into the learning management system as well as the tests that are required here, or the tests, small group discussion also, I structure it within the LMS. Everything is automated with the LMS, it sends notifications, it calls the students' attention, it makes them do the thing, and then it promotes the discussion part. You can supervise it, you can moderate it, you can be there as a guide, as a mentor. Okay? So I think I used this was for another group. Yeah, this is the one I wanted. I'm sorry. Anyway, I can't do this quickly. I'm sorry, please excuse me. Now, I want to start with this. We have the competency-based medical education curriculum, okay? This is what is known as a framework. You already have that. The goals have been set. Now, Duke Medical Colleges, what they do, I come from NUS, Duke Medical School, okay? At the beginning of the year, the students are told that each of you are a stakeholder in this process. You have paid fee, here medical, in private institutions, they pay fee, in Singapore also they pay fee. And then the government reimburses amount. Anyway, you have come here to learn, and we are here to teach. Okay, so you will have to put in 50% of the effort. We will put in 50% effort. And they go into a model known as handover. We treat them as adults. They are responsible for their own teaching. The beginning of year itself, it is told to them that you have to put in certain amount of effort. And that won't be very hard, it won't be beyond your limit. So you need not stretch yourself, we need not stretch ourselves. We'll all work in a comfortable way. If you work in tandem together, there will be harmony. Okay, we'll all learn, it will make all our lives easy. Okay, and they also sign. They also say that yes, I understand. I am a stakeholder. I am adult. I will be treated as a future healthcare professional, and the standards expected of me should be that of a future doctor or a nurse or a dentist, which is of a higher standard than an ordinary arts and science or engineering college. Okay, if you go to an arts college or a science college, you don't have to put in all that kind of work. The work will be low. What is expected out of you also will be low, because the future, your role in the society, your work, your duties will be different. It is not known because it's not a professional course. Medicine is a professional course. High emphasis is placed on professionalism. So they have to start showing it from the day one. They cannot suddenly become professionals at the end of 5.5 years. You can't say that they are now doctors. They have to start it. So we tell them clearly and say that they are stakeholders. Okay, now I want to ask these questions before I leave it. Now, teacher's role, this is a traditional teacher's role kind of dream. Okay, there are a lot of aspects to it. One is when you are in contact with the student, you have a facilitated role, a role model. They look at you, how you practice in the clinical settings, and that is why they learn professionalism, aspects of that. Then you give them information as a lecturer or as a clinical teacher. Then you put together all the resources they require. That means a study guide. You produce a study guide. Earlier times you used to have small manuals, right, monographs, and then you put them together, and then you give them a planning how to go through it. You tell them these are the classes that you have to do. Curriculum planner, course organizer, then evaluators, school assessor, then mentorship for them. This is slightly old. Now it has been changed. Now this is a modern teacher. Can you see how many roles are there? Can you count? Some of these are overlapping, but they have been grouped together. Now, you are a mentor and the coach are different. Okay, they are not the same. The coach is like on the field. He will push you to your extreme, to your limit. When you are the lowest, they will push you. Mentor is not like that. He sits beside you, hears you patiently, and offers you advice, which you may follow, you may not follow. But coach, can you say no to coach? You can't. So you have to be both mentor when they require it, coach in some places, and then separately motivator, facilitator, role model. All this is one set. And now new rules are come forward. One is, what is this? Instructional design. Now instructional design has become its own science. There are textbooks available for this thick. Okay, it's huge. So instructional design is the art and science in itself nowadays. Then you become a lesson planner. But instructional design is how should anything be taught? In what way something to be taught so that students observe it better. There are things for which you can show a picture. Okay. There are things which are best shown as an animation. How are proteins created with the RNA kind of thing? Then if there is an animation, we understand better. If it is a procedure, you choose a video for that. Okay. If it parts of something, then you use a diagram, illustration with parts that is put out. If it is data that they have to look at, you can put it in a table. If the table has been implemented, you use graphs, charts. You know that, right? So, instruction designer not only chooses the most appropriate way to present that material, but also in what order it has to be presented to make it palatable, to make it easy for students to digest. That you have to know so that you can present in such a way. And if you do it very, very well, then you need not put extra effort to help them learn it. Because they learn it easy by the virtue of the material being easy. You understand? Because it's like notes, that kind of thing. Then your facilitator, here is one facilitator, here is one more. This is for coordinating, connecting and communicating. As a communicator with them, you tell them what is expected of them to do, when it is to be done, and then you help them do all those things and coordinate through the LMS, and you can automate most of this. Now, the new age roles for a teacher is this. This is curator. That means you assemble things on the internet. The internet is full of resources and material. You know that. It's in form of notes, it's in form of videos on YouTube, and then there are recent systematic studies, reviews. The review of literature itself makes for very interesting reading. You can find all those things. Images, diagrams, animations, whatnot are there. And it's very hard to collect them and keep them in one place. What happens is you will right click on an image, you will save it to your drive sometimes. And after 20 days, you will be searching for it. It happens to all of us. We lose things. And the more we collect, more clutter we create. Correct or not? You put them somewhere, it is in a hard disk, in this drive, that drive, some are in a pen drive, somewhere in the home computer, some are in a husband's computer which he takes to college. It's here and there. Nobody knows where, and it gets lost. So we have to learn how to put everything in an organized way, keep it in a way where we can retrieve it easily. Storing and collecting is not a big art. So retrieval becomes the issue. Okay, so that's what a curator does, and then we have to know how to publish it to the learning management system in the state which follows the instructional design. Alright, now you have to become a media editor. You have to know how to edit small videos. Believe me, you have to do that. Children have learned that. They did it for TikTok, and after TikTok, now reels and shorts, they do it. Naturally. You won't, you might not. Even though you are all looking and you are not, TikTok kind of thing. But you have to do it. If the students want, learning material to be in reels format, we have to supply it. We cannot put them to our side because their attention span is already dead. It's gone. It's 3 seconds. Earlier we were talking about 15 seconds, 1 minute, $3 million. Now completely gone. Now in future it will be microseconds. So now we have micro teaching, micro credentials kind of thing coming up. Anyway, you have to be a media editor so that you can create short videos. Short videos means now the standard is maximum 8 minutes. And beyond that, if you go till 10 minutes, that's all. Anything you create has to be 10 minutes chunks. You have to chunk it up, break it up into small, consumable chunks so they can eat it like a candy. Okay? So you have to be a media editor, you have to add subtitles, you have to do that. It's not very hard, it can also be automated. If we have a workshop, we will teach you that, these skills. And an assembler of all those things put together in a nice way, logical way. It's like Sandhya. It's like many dishes coming together in an order with some kind of logic so that they can eat it and they can enjoy it. Sadhya. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Now, after all this only comes you as an expert. Nobody needs an expert. Okay, you might be professor of something, but it comes after all this. Only if you have this you can teach. Just by being an expert you cannot, because very hard to transfer knowledge. In my first session, I was talking about most difficulty lies in transfer of knowledge, which is very hard. We have now understood. You can even learn new knowledge, but to transfer it to somebody else, that to children or students, is very hard. So you have to be an expert. You have to collaborate among yourself. Nobody is an island anymore. Before, everybody used to have their own classes, they will prepare their own classes, they will have their own PowerPoint, and these never used to be of a particular standard. No, everybody's standard used to differ. There used to be a lot of differences, diversity in how the PowerPoint is made, what kind of quality everybody is maintaining, and that diversity goes up, particularly when faculty keep leaving and new faculty come in. So very soon, the standard is heterogeneous. So we have to bring in some way so that everybody can collaborate together and produce something to certain standards that we've set. You also have to be leader, as well as you have to bring in change within your department, as well as in students and everywhere. There is no use complaining. Now, and then comes you as an examiner. Assessor, then you have to be a critic. If somebody creates an assignment, you have to give them an assignment. Okay? You give them an assignment saying that create a working model of the lung. When they do it, you have to be able to criticize them to those aspects which are without hurting them, which is an art. Okay, what you have done there, what you can improve, that kind of thing, how they can reflect upon certain things, so that it comes. Sometimes you need to agitate the whole thing. Okay, you agitate the mix everything up. You know how to do. At home, you know very well how to do, some of you. But here in classroom also, you have to do it sometimes. Agitate it. Then evaluate at an equipoise, from a point of view where you can evaluate as an impartial judge. Then you tell the students about the goals that you have set for them. Then you see to it that they reach the goals, and that is where the quality assurance comes in. Okay, you have to see to it the students have learned everything in the way you have designed it for them. If they don't, then you have to find out the reason. Then maybe the reason is extraneous to you. Maybe it's about the students' fault, they are not paying attention no matter what you do. Or sometimes the fault is in the teachers themselves. We have to self-correct. Anyway, that quality certificate comes in. At last, you have to research on based on all these things. You can do educational research or any other researcher, new knowledge creator, inventor comes later. I told you about the patents and what government wants us to become patents, transfer patents, commercialization, all those things there. Got it? So these are all the roles that you are going to play. We can't do all these things because condition number one, I always start my presentation saying that we have limited amount of time, attention span, we also, energy, brain power, all those things are in highly limited quantities. Okay? And we can't sacrifice other aspects of our personal life, home, children, family, our own health, recreation for these things. So we have to maintain a balance. Otherwise we will burn out. Correct? So what we have to do, we have to find tools to leverage. I was talking about leverage in my first presentation. That means you have to bring tools into play. Otherwise, you will be struggling and you cannot do justice to any of these roles. Nowadays, everybody is talking about what is known as the learning experience. What do the students experience while they are in college? Like we have user experience or user interface. We use it in computers. Okay? So how the students interact with the computers is known as user interface. The people interacting with computers. And how they experience that interaction is known as user experience. So Apple was a master in this. They came up with certain ideas to make the experience much better. Okay, intuitive, easy, you touch it. The sensitivity they have fine-tuned it to microseconds, and light touch also it is quite sensitive to the screen. Earlier you used to have capacitive screens where you are a little bit pressed. If you are old enough like me, if you remember that time, cheap mobile phones, they never used to work as good as iPhones. You'll have to exert some more pressure, and it never used to be very sensitive. Okay. iPhone, on the other hand, is highly tuned. That leads to the experience, better experience. So people are prepared to pay a premium for that experience. Similarly, we are talking about learning experiences students should have. It should be pleasant. It should not have much frictions in it. It should not be like an assessment, test, fear of those things. We have to go away. Now, I told you earlier, the students have to be treated as adult learners. There is an entire science about this called andragogy. There is a higher science beyond this. When you are treating them as self-sufficient adults, it is called tutor-gogging model. When you come for any course, for example, we have an excellent course called Masters in Health Professionals Education. If you come to our course in our institution, we run it on a tutor-gogging model. That means all of you decide, the learners decide what they want to learn, how they want to learn it, they learn it, they present among themselves. Teachers will only be facilitators as well as helpers kind of. Okay, that is pedagogy. That is completely independent. Here the andragogy means they need guidance. You are here to guide them, but this is not pedagogy or pedagogy. You are not going to treat them as children spoon feed. And then they need to be creating a personal learning environment for them, and we have to provide them the tools to create that. Now this is based on constructivist learning theory. It's a huge thing. I don't want to go into it right now. And nowadays, many of these things we will have to deliver through a virtual learning environment, which can be a learning management system. Both have overlapping things in between them, but they are not on the same. If there are any doubts, please feel free to stop and ask me. Okay, now, this is what? What do we want? We want less work, better outcomes. We want that. This is a legitimate goal. Okay. We don't have to work very, very hard to get the outcomes that we want. But we have to employ leverage. If we don't do, then we have to do more work and the outcome won't be that good. So we have to reverse it. And we have to automate the mundane and we have to track the performance. There's a book called Measure What Matters. It talks about OKRs. If you are interested, you can go it. That means we have to track the performance, our own performance, students' performance, systems performance to see where we can tweak it, make it better. And we have to set goals and analyze it so that we get feedback and loop it into the system with changes. You know this, right? Alright, so here is learning management system. What is a learning management system? It allows for personalization of learning at an individual's level. Students can have better experience because they are determinants of their own learning. It is not a pedagogy model, it's an andragogy model. And they can determine, they can direct their own learning. We can track we can do automation of tracking of their progress so that we don't have to follow. Have you done your homework? Have you done your homework? Submit your homework. I look at it. You are not done. You don't have to do that. You have a practical class. Everybody does the record. What happens now? You have a bunch of records like this. This should not have to carry forward. What are we doing? Putting signature for all of that. You even read one line of it. Who does? Nobody does. If you do that, you are robots. No, you can't. That is boring stuff. We have seen this 100 times. What do? You put your signature for it. Quite unproductive. To be frank. Okay, this is only a closed group, so I don't have to worry about it. We don't have to do that. I have done that, you have done that, we have all done that. We have to finish off the whole stack, we sign it off and give it back. And that is there because of a statutory requirement. Okay, it's not fulfilled. We have to automate it so that we get to the purpose of that. That means students should be independent doing certain work and recording it and documenting, which has some kind of meaning. Not a meaningless copy of the same thing. Everybody writes an aim in such a word. In Tamil, they say sometimes when you are copying, the other fellow has swatted a fly. What do? You draw the fly in your paper. Okay. Yeah, that is what students do. All the record books will be exactly the same. You count the lines, it will be the same. Yeah, years. The original fellow swatted and killed and fly is on his answer sheet. The other fellow thought it must be a diagram and he drew that. Okay, exactly. The left and the right wing and things like that. So it's useless. Okay, everybody, they also are bored. What do? They put the music on headphones or they talk to their girlfriends or boyfriends or their friends together and they do it all together. They copy the exact same thing. Okay, so it doesn't work. Now we have to structure the students' life for them. I tell you, students
give to the juniors and
right. Give to the juniors. Yeah, exactly. Juniors ragging. They say nowadays no big ragging. It's only a record rate. Everybody does that. It's like imposition. When I was a student, we used to have imposition 1,000 times. Go to the board and write or on the paper to write. Horrible. Because we are bored out of the skulls when they ask us to do mundane things. We don't want to really do that, right? So now, see, student life is already tough, isn't it? You have all kind of stuff in that. You have your hormones going on. You can't sit in one place. Nowadays, attention span is not there. There are thousands of distractions in the palm of your hand. You open your mobile, you can scroll. You know what is known as scroll of doom. You keep scrolling. It keeps coming. You know, there's new things to keep on seeing. The adrenaline, the dopamine rush, they have understood this. Instagram fellows have understood this. TikTok fellows are the first to algorithmize it, made an algorithm. If you like one video, they exactly know what you are interested in. You like 3 videos, gone. Your full profile is there. Which dance you know, which kind of dress you know, which ethnicity you prefer, it knows everything about it. It shows you exactly what you want to know. And it also knows what you might like. So it will show you additional stuff. Okay? They understand us very, very well. And it gives you dopamine. Little bit. Keep scrolling. And students, just imagine them. They are still young. Okay? It's gone. The generation is gone. So, their life is tough. We all know that. We have been through that. A lot of emotions. A lot of people have friends. They have relationships. They have a lot of stuff going on in their life. Some of them are good. Some of them are happy. Some of them are not so good. We have to understand. We have to teach them as adults. Okay, we have to think that they have problems. So what we have to do is facilitate. I showed you all the roles. Some of these roles are to ease this path for them. They are already having a tough life, easing into adulthood. We are making it tough by giving them a lot of things to study. So we have to give them, we have to know them, we have to give them a structured student life. We can do this through LMS. In LMS, we make sure that they understand what is going to come ahead. Next month you are going to have a test. This week you are going to have this. Next week you are going to have this. Don't procrastinate. Just do this in this manner. You will be easily finishing the large chunk of material that you have to consume. All of us know how much is there, too much is there. Students also know it. If they miss 4 or 5, they will stay back and they will become poor students. Okay, and it feeds into a bad loop. That means students who merely lack motivation. They may have a capacity, but they don't have motivation, they already fail, and they cannot come out of it, they will keep failing. Okay, so we have to get them to stay in the loop. We are giving them structured life. LMS allows you to do that. LMS reminds them that you have assessment coming up, you have an assignment you have to finish, this is a deadline, it nags them. And if they don't do it, it won't allow them to go to the next one. You don't have to take up the cane, you don't have to be a strict disciplinary. The LMS will do that job for you. You understand? So each subsequent module is made dependent on the previous module. Okay? So it follows. If you don't finish the first module, you can't go to the second module. And then we employ a lot of methods to induce them to finish it on time. If you finish everything in time, 20 days, 25 days, Christmas holidays. If you don't, no Christmas holidays. You stay back and finish. Okay, this kind of conditions you have to bring, or fines, or whatever you can imagine. Everybody has their own ways of doing it. Okay, so you have to bring it so that they finish everything, and we fulfill the student-teacher partnership happily. Right now, what the LMS will help us is we have all these competencies listed. Okay, now we teach them in a particular way. And immediately we have tests before and after tests we have for everything. I'll tell you about what happens in NUS in a minute. So once you test them, you know very well which competencies are hard, which competencies are easy. You can move the easy ones forward, or you can push it in such a way that between every hard competency there is one easy competency. You understand what I am saying, right? Now all these decisions will be driven by data. You won't be taking subjective decisions. You won't be just taking it because they have given a list of competencies. You don't follow the competencies as it is. Even now you restructure it based on some aspect. Okay, now with the data from LMS, you will be able to better position so that it is easy both for you as well as for students. So that it is distributed. So that you have data that will inform you for making all the efforts and for also finding out areas where you need to concentrate the effort. Okay, so all your planning will be driven by data. Don't be blind. It will make your decision making easy because it's all based on some kind of data. It will tell you exactly what you have to do. Then it becomes easy for you to certify the attainment of competencies. This is what you are supposed to do. LMS will automatically certify them if they follow certain rules and fulfill certain conditions. You set the conditions. Okay, for example, there is no competency. In order to finish the competency, they have to submit a paper. YOC is there. No, you don't have to do it by voice, by YOC itself. You can automate it so that they submit it something, in this case, return an assessment. You can give them a paper, research paper that they submit. You don't have to correct it, peers can correct it. I will tell you in NUS what happens. NUS, they use Canvas, okay, learning management system. So every teacher has their own topics. In the morning I told you, in NUS teachers are supposed to bring down the effort to 60%. They have to reduce 60% of their work. That means they take the whole topic. They cut the topic into 3 parts. First part is a self-guided learning part. Usually, let me take this document. Look at this, very nice. Otitis media. Explain anatomical basis of otitis externa and otitis media, right? Okay. Now, this anatomy they have done in first year itself. All they need is reminder. So this part is right for self-guided learning. What is this for? You don't have to teach this part. So this whole part you give them as video or text that they can watch. If it is script, it means it's pure video, or if it is text that can be read, that means self-guided learning part. SDL. So you give this as SDL. This also SDL because this is about the this thing, drum and stuff like that. Perception of smell and taste sensation, physiology, again SDL. Probably this part, functionality also SDL, and you decide which part will be SDL, which part will be flipped. Now, you can flip this. This is nice. This is demonstration. That means you have to show testing, hearing, and testing for smell and taste sensation in a volunteer in a simulated environment. Okay, so you can take a video of this test that is happening. Hot water, cold water tests, things are there, right? So you can take a video so that they watch it before they come to simulation lab. Get it? So that is called flipping. They watch part of it and come for the remaining part, or they watch the entire thing, come and repeat it here. Whatever it is, flip part. So three parts. One is self-directed learning part. They are adults. They learn it on their own because this is a repetition of what they have already learned, building upon earlier knowledge, reminding them, or repeating of what you have done earlier in previous modules. What you have covered. This you need not repeat again. You give it a self-directed learning. Some parts you can give it as a flip to class where you create a video of you taking the class, demonstrating something, showing something, all those things. You take a nice video, put it up, they watch it and come. You can discuss parts of it in the live face-to-face education. Okay, third part, that should be only 30%, 33% of the entire thing is what you teach. Okay, 66% you have to give it to them either in form of self-directed learning or as flipped class. Got it? So your work condenses down to select those areas which require your expert presence, which only you can deliver, which you take joy in delivering it. You talk about clinicals, your presence is required there to drive home the important material because it is either important, hard to explain, or it requires narrating a clinical case, things like that. Based on those parameters, you decide. You are the expert, so you divide into three parts: self-directed learning, flip, and then this. Now, teacher decides this, and they give the self-directed learning as well as the flipped part. If you don't monitor, if you don't measure, they will never watch. You have to measure everything. It's not normal. So you give a test. After the self-directed, they will take a test. Only if they pass the test, they have to come for the lecture. That is flipped classroom. They watch and come for the lecture. They have to come for the lecture prepared well in ahead. Correct? Otherwise, you will be forced to take everything from the very beginning. What will happen? You will put up a slide. First slide is classification. Then you will start classification. You will talk. That's boring stuff. It's boring for you as well as for them. There is not much to talk about in classification, right? There will be a lot of things that doesn't make sense to teach them. Read out the presentations. What we do really doesn't make sense. It's a use. It's a wastage of our time as well as theirs. So they have to read it out. To hold them accountable, you give them a pre-lecture test. Only if they pass a test, they get attendance. Merely by sitting in a classroom, they shouldn't get attendance. Okay, they have to pass a test, pre-lecture test. Now in NUS, what happens is that every professor gives a pre-lecture test at the night before the lecture. Tomorrow is the lecture, today night, at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, the test concludes. They can take it anywhere from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. They are up to them. It's very quick. 20 questions or 10 questions, MCQ, very quickly they can take it off. Once a day, the teacher receives the results and they can go through it. Now these 20 questions that they have given are all based on the self-directed learning and the flipped classroom part. They may be areas, we call it gaps in understanding. Okay? Where the majority of students in the class, they are not performing well. You get what I say? You give them the flipped part, you give them the self-directed learning part, and then you give them little applied questions. You give them easy questions, give them difficult questions, must know, desirable to know kind of areas and questions. You see how they are answering as a cohort. There will be patterns. You should come in the LMS. LMS will tell you. Question number 3, discrimination factor is good, but 80% of students have struggled with it. Even students who usually do well are not doing well in this. What do you understand? There is a gap in understanding. Either because what you have given to them as self-directed learning part is not very well. Perhaps you have to look into it and see if it can be made better, or genuinely it may be a hard part. That is the part you take for next day's examination, next day's lecture. Now, next day's lecture is informed by data, so you don't cover the entire part because you are blind to what they know, what they don't know. So you take the entire class, and you are always concentrating on finishing the portion. Half of it flows above the head, and another flows below the head, and in the middle nothing reaches there. Now you exactly know, what they don't know. They have already demonstrated they know some things by taking these questions, right? 20 questions, 18 questions. Majority have done well. So do you have to take it again? You don't have to. You know, your effort is already saved for you. Don't touch it. Go to the part which they have failed, and the new things that you are introducing, you take that. That's a constructivist. So you construct upon what they previously have knowledge. This will help us all, so that we can all progress together. Provided we push the students towards this adult stage, it will take time. They have to understand there is goodness in this. Otherwise, they will push the old punishment era where they will have to sit in the lecture hall and listen to you drone on for hours together, and they will anyway sleep after half an hour. You know, very tough. So that's the role of yeah. Then the system automatically certifies them. Right, this is what I wanted to say. So you have a 4-quadrant approach. There are 4 quadrants. These quadrants have been described differently in different literature. Usually the first quadrant is self-guided learning. We call it SDL. Second quadrant is flipped classroom. Third quadrant is discussion, that is social learning, small group discussions. Fourth quadrant is assessment. Okay, in medical education, third quadrant will be small group discussions or just discussions. So you have to divide self-guided learning 20% of the portion, flipped class 20%, taught class 40%, social learning 20%. This is one way of dividing. Got it? This is for us. So your taught class is only 40%. 60% of the material you have to divide into self-guided learning and social learning. Social learning is small group teaching which comes there. In LMS it's very easy. You put the topic, you put a nice case scenario and then people discuss about it. You are there to monitor. That's all. Alright? So there are some students which will help other students because of their natural propensity to help, to become leaders. You know that there are many students like that, good study students. And other students will also automatically navigate towards them. They ask them for help. Please help me, I am having problems. So you help them in the social learning, peer learning. They make their own groups, that kind of thing. And they learn better when they are learning from peers. We all know that. So we facilitate all that through the LMS. Now, here is where the problem comes. We have to learn new set of skills. One of which is, like I told you, dancing and before camera. Okay, not literally dancing, but I'm paraphrasing it. It's like acting before them. Dramatics will have to perform in front of a camera. So here is where e-content authoring comes in. You will have to learn. It's a long process. It's like teaching an old dog new tricks. Okay, you have to do it collaboratively, otherwise you can't do it at all. If we set it out to do something, it won't come out very, very well. There will be differences, there will be differences, it won't be good. We have to build up what is known as a body of knowledge. I spoke in my first session. And we have to build up resource library by putting all the things together, all the PDFs that you have put together, this, that, wherever, everything, get it all in one place. It should be searchable, it should be in a database which you can retrieve whenever you want. Otherwise it's useless. That is what goes into curation, assembly and publishing. And most importantly, if it is dull video, they play the video and they will be doing something else. So it has to have interactivity and there has to be a little bit of variety built into it. So you have to think like a media creator. Okay, like YouTubers are there, you have to build. You don't have to go to that extent. Okay, you are not going to vulgarize this learning method into some kind of performance kind of thing. Not that, but you have to give for some kind of variety there. Okay, so you have to change the video shapes from here to there, narrative videos or interactive videos or graphics, things like that. There are a lot of tools available which you can teach yourself, train, or we all can also train. So, this I will skip it. This was one. Thank you very much. Any questions? So, takeaway message is what? We have to reduce our work, get what is known as a leverage. Technology is a leverage. One form of leverage is the learning management system. On the other hand, we have to learn certain new skills of performing in front of the camera so that we create nice e-content, put it there, we don't have to repeat it. Okay? Alright.
What is the take-home message for the accreditation process?
Yeah, accreditation process is that all of these things are very intimately tied to the accreditation process. Now we'll come to the accreditation process. I think I lost because, I'm sorry, I lost track of where I am and what I'm trying to say. See, in accreditation process again.